Hi guys, and welcome to the January 2022 layout update. It's probably not so much a layout update, it's probably sort of an update to where I'm at with a new layout. And as you're going to see, I've done quite a bit of work since I did my last update in August 2021. So the old layout's all gone now, salvage what I can out of it, and now construction's basically been full bore on this new layout. Although it's been pretty hot here in Australia, sort of December, January, February are pretty warm months here in Australia, and progress has sort of halted a little bit. It's just a little bit too hot to come in here. Even though I have aircon in here, it's just, there's no motivation. And as you see here, we're starting to leave the main line, which is a main line basically to nowhere. So it basically just comes out of the fiddle yard and just basically finishes at this wall here, which is just going to be a scene. The main layout is really an industrial sort of switching layout. So now that we're leaving the main line, we're heading back to the other side, which is now going to be the sort of the main sort of yard area and sort of where all the industries are located. So just a quick run by sort of this side and what I've done. As you can see, I've got 3 industries and basically sort of just a little yard office and sort of a couple of smaller jeeps that sort of switch out the yard and all that kind of thing. They're sort of based around there. That back industry there, which is a building salvage from the old layout, is sort of just a warehouse, gets just 2 high cube box cars. And in the front here, we're going to have a scrap steel siding. And up in the back opposite corner there, we're going to have a food processing plant, which sort of gets 3 commodities. You're going to have corn syrup tank cars inbound, and you've got flour, just probably 1 sort of pressurised hopper, and 2 or 3 box cars of outbound traffic of finished product. I'm not even sure what this food processing plant's going to be yet, so that's just sort of a thing in sort of progress, so we'll work it out as we go along. Going back this way, from here, we've got sort of a little just duck under to get from one side of the layout back to the other. As you're going to see, I've got my workshop and sort of workbench on the opposite side. Show you a little bit more of that later. And we're back to where we started. So I've got a little bit of mainline running if I just feel like putting a train just to run around, just sit back, relax. But eventually, sort of through the wall there, I did mention it in the last sort of video that from the plans, I will be going, punching a hole through there and putting the fiddle yard in this cupboard. I have also been looking at the idea with this duck under, actually removing it. I'm kind of happy with the sort of workmanship I did on it. And so I don't know, at this stage, yeah. So I'm thinking about going through the cupboard and going through the wall, back along there, and sort of rejoining back here. Give me a little bit more layout sort of running, but at the same time, I am happy with what I've got now, but as you're going to see, the trains are pretty restricted in length. You don't want to go too big because you don't want the front of the train like almost touching the back of your train. So, because I've got, I think it was 15 cars in this train running around. So I do run about 20, which I think is just enough not to look like it's following itself. So, wait and see, I don't know. See if I get bored of this, maybe one day. It can always be put in later if I have to, but at this stage I'm still just going to build a fiddle yard in that cupboard there, probably 4 or 5 tracks. I was also looking at the idea of sort of, even with the fiddle yard, coming back through that wall just below the calendar there and just up to that back wall just before the start of that, the map, and just a little bit longer in sort of local trains, because that's going to be more the emphasis on this layout. Which sort of leads to a side note. I wish a few more manufacturers would bring a bit more Jeeps out rather than just big power all the time. I've got that much big power and very little sort of smaller locos that will sort of run this layout. So I've got those 2 there, and I've got the sort of all the other ones that I have are pretty much sitting on the opposite side here, and that's sort of the engine tracks there. And so yeah, come on manufacturers, start bringing out some more sort of Jeep 38s and Jeep 40s and that kind of thing. Even those high hood SD40-2s that have been promised by Scale Trains, where are they? Come on. Lighting in this room is a little bit average at the moment. I am looking at sort of options for that. It's sort of very sort of yellowy sort of lighting, so I am going to sort of look in that in the next sort of month or so, just to sort of bring it up a bit more brighter. And the other thing I would still want to do too is put some more photos. That's one of my photos in Harrisburg on the Rockville Bridge. And another one there, and a few more. I am actually building, at this stage, building a display cabinet, which is going to go below the air conditioner. Just got to sort of varnish it up and just a few little finishing touches and mount it up there. That's going to be more for all my heritage units. So I've got 16 of them. I've sort of only bought the ones I've actually seen, so, and photographed, so, well, which leads to pretty much every loco I do own. It's a loco I have photographed in sort of various trips to the USA, so it all means sort of something to me. Just to give you guys a bit more of a detailed sort of look more at sort of what's been done so far, I'll go around the layout one more time. So as you're going to see there, that's the main line with the two SD, or one SD40 and one SD40-2. Got two tracks, which the train on the foreground is actually coming off, well, the branch line, return loop if you want to call it that. And as we go back around, we sort of all join into two tracks, which then lead up towards a diamond, which is basically the diamond to nowhere. As the train is now sort of heading back onto the industrial sort of branch line. In the foreground is one of the other industries that I've sort of come up with. It's probably going to be a fertiliser plant, which is sort of what it's looking like. I don't want it to be grain, I want it more sort of something a bit more industrial. As you come around, I'm not sure if I'm actually going to have the substation in that location at this stage. So we're going to have a grade crossing. And then as you come over that, you'll be separating into all the yard tracks. One of the big sort of signature sort of features I think for this corner is going to be the food processing plant. I do want to sort of get a large facility which basically is going to take the whole sort of all up to about there somewhere. So far everything's running pretty good. I've had no major problems, even though it's been nice and hot here. I've had no sort of track buckling, so I think I've just put enough gap into everything, which is good because I like to put the gap as minimal as I can between sort of joins. Just nothing worse than a big sort of like 1-2 millimeter gap. Well, that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you look forward to future videos of progress as it happens. Take care, bye.